doing impossible things with impossible paws, rolling on impossible wheels, flying with impossible wings. I had an idea so crazy, made my mind.
Hey, hiya. All right. It's Thursday, and you know what that means. I hope everybody's been having a good week. I have been having a good week. Getting stuff done. Laura had a birthday yesterday. Do-da. Some fun things coming up and going on, and yeah, really excited about that. Hey, I got a video to show you. Check this out.
One-page extravaganza. One-page extravaganza.
And just released is Alphabet Book. It's a 78-page hardcover collection of illustrated pages inspired by a phrase or a word that is focused on a single letter of the English alphabet. Wait.
All right, so there we go. Yeah, okay, so I just thought it was fun. I cut off my own ending there. That's what I do. I got a couple things to announce. I got a few things to show, and we're going to be working on a new one-page story today. So as of right now, I'm going to jump to the overhead. As of right now, we've got these two books out, and by next week, I'll be able to show you the proof of this one. Yep, that sounds about right. Okay, so yeah, we've got some things happening, and it's all good fun in the sun. But we've been, working hard and getting a bunch of things in process. So there'll be all kinds of different things that'll be showing up soon, and I'll be letting you know. But I'm in the process right now of getting up a number of the one-page story read-alongs that you can find on YouTube. So if you haven't seen those yet, please check them out. They're good fun, and they're silly as all get out, because that's how I do. The one-page extravaganza stories are based on prompts that I get from people. So whether it's a couple of words or a sentence of dialogue or just a random idea, and I do a one-page story every day. And this is the first collection of those. And collection number 2 is going to be launched for London Comic Con. That'll be the launch date of that. So that'll be September 14th will be the launch date for One-Page Extravaganza 2. Alphabet Book is the second thing that we just put out this year. Alphabet Book is people suggest basically it's this. Each illustrated page is inspired by a phrase or a word focused on a single letter of the English alphabet. So this is more of a short stories, just quick images, things like that. Artsy, and same size as one page, and the same size as one page volume 2 will be. So exciting. But yeah, so keep an eye out. But September 14th on Amazon will be the release date for One-Page Extravaganza Volume 2. Hey, Paul, welcome aboard. Hey, I'm glad you're here. And hi, anybody else that's joined in with us as well. I put this up on Facebook in addition to what we got going on here. So A is for... A is one of my favorite pages that I've done. That's the wrong book. Just because it's so fantastically silly. It's airplane. I wanted to be fly an airplane when I have was a big, little girl, banana, boy. Memory's a fuzzy thing. It's just good, silly fun. I love how when these are printed, and if you're looking at putting something out, print it through Amazon, look at it gets the tissue paper and all of the little bits of surface. I hope the camera can pick that up. It gets the texture of the tape, the masking tape that I use in images and things like that. And, or the granulation of pencil crayon on cardstock or the texture of this parchment, not parchment, Hanji paper that I'm using here. Really thick texture to it. And in addition to that, it'll pick up things like the onion net that I use for the butterfly net here. So yeah, if the really good quality that these guys put out, and I'm really pleased with it. So yip-a-dip-a-doo. Let's see what else. I've got a few different things I want to talk about today, in addition to the announcements. Working with my kids with autism, mainly nonverbal. A is for little Daniel did pipe up the word. His daddy was embarrassed. Oh no! Oh no! Yeah, those things can happen. That's for sure. I've been really enjoying sitting down and going through a number of books that I sort of keep around in the studio. I love books, and I was at a bookstore for 2 decades, and so to me, books are one of those things where you can read things online. This is the new age. You can do all kinds of things in all kinds of different ways now to take part in literature and ideas and stories. But for me, it's something about having a book. And I've talked about certain things like the insights that you can get in design and expression that you'll find in literature. Is that going to help that? Not at all. Okay. The insights that you can get from that and the things that you yourself can learn to implement creatively, you can find, sure, online, looking at images, but when you've got a book in your hand and you can just sort of engage in it slowly and just sort of read through. Like this is Alberto Breccia, right? I love his work. I've got a number of his books that I've collected. And the beautiful thing about what he does is that he a book in your hand and on your shelf, heaven, right? Yeah. Oh yeah, I bet. Oh yeah, 100%. He does some really fun things with ink wash and spackling, and there's so many different techniques that he uses in these pages in his storytelling, and I can't get over it. It's there's just such a wealth of information when you sit down with a book and you look through it, and you can just spend some time just engaged in what might be the process of creativity. We've got another example right in here. Look at the textures that are behind this Aerolineus Argentinus. Argentinian Airlines. So just a wonderful opportunity to discover a lot of things and start to understand and try to comprehend what tools is he utilizing, what process is he engaged in the act of creating these pages, and so rather than just sticking with one person, it's fun to jump from one to another, and especially if you switch directions. This is Alex Ross, and Alex Ross does an awful lot of painted superhero books, which is very different from what I just showed you of Paramus by Breccia, and I can't remember his name. Susterain. I probably mispronounced that. So Ross does an awful lot of these cover images. He did Kingdom Come, he did Marvels, he did a number of different painted projects. But his pencil work is just lovely. But I get the impression that he's using a really soft lead. Oh, Paula says hubby has his book. Nice. I get the impression he uses a soft lead. I'd be interested to find that out. Or a pencil crayon, one or the other, when he's drawing, because there's just something about the grain, Hi, Linda. How you doing? Hi, Tim. So you can see that the way he structures his images. Here's his rough breakdown. Here's another, for this image here. Here's his rough breakdown for this image over here. And he takes this and he lays it out and goes over another piece of paper, builds it up. I really appreciate and respect that, the opportunity to be able to see these different stages of process, and it's an interesting thing, like this is what I call an Alex Ross shot. He does a lot of these people dropping from above in all their superheroic poses, or flying up into the air in all their superheroic poses. You see some of his design work that he does for characters, some of his idea generation for different approaches to the same cover. Here he is actually, trying to put Superman to death under the water, and here he is just reaching out for him. Just neat stuff, But his painted work, he does a lot of watercolor and gouache, and it's lovely work. I have a Alex Ross print hanging in the house here that I bought, and I love it. It's a nice one. But so I'm just flipping through to show you all kinds of examples of his work that he did with DC. But I mean, look at that. That's a very complex image. So if you get the chance to take a look and study some of the approaches, so you'll see that Breccia's work, we don't necessarily see the pencil lines, but you see a lot of that ink wash, okay? And a lot of that, maybe, I don't know what other process he's using. It looks like ink. It looks like he's using stippling. I wonder if he uses a toothbrush for parts of it. Is he primarily brushed? Does he ever use a pen? And then when you look at Ross, you get the impression of him working up the image through pencil and then finishing in that watercolor. And that's where you can see it in examples. Like, let me see if I can find one of pencil to paint. Yeah, here we go. So here is his rough, like his pencil. This is the pencil's process of it. We already saw his idea generation. But now we see this. And then you get to see him applying color to it. And the watercolor, maybe gouache as well, washes over top of the pencils, because you can see that granulation peeking through that he has in the pencil work here. So it helps us to sort of see some resulting from this process, and it helps to give you creatively an idea of different ways that you can apply, different tools to whatever it is that you're utilizing, if it's storytelling, if it's whatever it might be. And see there again, look at this. He's got pencil drawing, he's thrown some watercolor over it, and he's got a different colored pencil in the background for a really interesting effect. Paul says it's incredible. Yeah, it's really phenomenal stuff that he does. Oh, Justice. I forgot about his Justice series as well. But even the back cover of it shows you stages, So I just wanted to sort of show some of that and to talk about, those processes. I got one more to show you. And again, it's a completely different direction. But Mike Mignola has created a character, Hellboy, and Heckboy. So his work is very, very solid values. Okay, so the difference with Breccia, it's got this organic fluidity of ink and different applications. Alex Ross has got this sort of pencil to finish paint, but with this sort of realist. Both of these guys have a rather realistic bent. Whereas Mignola tends to come at things with an opaque approach, where he has solid dark values and solid light values. He has really strong shape language, as both these other guys have good shape language as well. But there's something about the way that Mignola approaches things. And I'm going to see if I can find some fun examples. So so here, take a look at this. This is him in his story. The bad guys of World War II try to call up, some unnatural powers on their behalf, and we're going to rule the world. This is the idea in the story, and for whatever reason they miscalculate something, and their monster that they pull up actually ends up with the good guys at a different location, and he gets raised up by this one fella who teaches him to be a good guy and to use these strange abilities for good. And so that's why you see an awful lot of this World War II imagery, right? And Rasputin the Mad Monk was actually an evil sorcerer in his hypothesis. So, but take a look at these pages and you see just strong uses of contrast, light and dark. Really powerful executions of that. Very minimal amounts of detail put in with just line art. It's largely based on shape. Paula says, I went to the Jean-Michel Basquiat and Robbie Williams exhibition this week. Oh, that's very cool. Well, she says that was rather cool. Nice. So you can see how strong and powerful this is. Here he is fighting against a werewolf because he fights against the bad monsters. And but again, look at this language that he establishes. Now, the idea is that you understand this is a brick wall. And the continuation of this motif, you sort of hypothesize that maybe it continues on, or it doesn't matter. It allows you to understand a larger scene with a simple amount of information placed in there. That's powerful stuff. That's powerful stuff. Like, look at all of the... Hi, Yolanda. Welcome aboard. All of these skulls and things. Well, macabre and scary, sure, but it's, he does scary books. So, but the symbology of all of this and the simplicity of this information. So here's some sneaky and subversive things that he's doing. Do you see this shape out of the skulls? There's a pyramidal shape there. And in the center of it is where he wants you to look. He's got two things happening. He's got the pyramidal shape of the background coupled with the real punch of color. And there's a subdued color throughout the entirety of the composition, but those punches, really vibrant color, coupled with that, which most people may not understand, draws your focus in. Illuminati. No. But it's just a really strong use of composition and a really strong use of symbolic imagery for you to know there's danger and threat with all of this, former humanity and monster, but everything draws you in on focusing on the fear of that monster. The idea of that being, I guess, a dog lady is secondary, because he's focusing you in on what you really need to be paying attention to, and it's interesting stuff. Like the way that, it's sure dark stuff. Like, look at this. This is a funny and yet really compelling image. Paul says, I don't think you can see this on computer holding the book in your hand. It's powerful and motive. It sure is. And scale is important. Scale is really important. Our eyes aren't meant for the flashing strobing of screens. They're just not. And, you don't get that from books. Your eyes become tired from looking at the screen. So, okay, so this one. He's fighting against the monster. Okay. He's drawing your attention to what's important. The threat of this to attack our guy. The fact that, ouchie time, little flecks around him. And here's his accoutrement, and here's, his body becomes a shape language as well. Shape language here. We get the impression that those are his legs. But this tool that he's using, and which, of course, in this representation in this story, the cross is on the side of good, and he's hitting the bad, evil thing, and the cross leaves a mark because of it. But the fact that is there, and all of these smack marks are all over this thing, it's not necessarily the most effective tool. It's a bit comedic in that result. But there they are. There's the big battle. Your intention isn't pushed away from what's in the background or what the scene is, because he doesn't draw that. Just concerns himself with the principal shapes of the characters in the composition. That's massive stuff. In this case, here he wants the dread. He's vigilant. He's prepared. He's standing in front of an altar, but then there's the looming evil in behind. It's That's incredibly powerful imagery. And what's really lovely is all of these leaves, these autumn leaves that are gathering around, which sort of gives a sense of, while he might be vigilant in his pose, he's in this place that everything's calm and natural, but up comes the encroaching evil, you know, coming out of the darkness. Like, again, powerful composition, but powerful symbolic imagery. Just all three of these artists are very similar in the regard. There's a heroic nobility in the stuff that Ross represents in his work. There's a symbolic good versus bad, you know. There's in Mignola's work, and Breccia has this sort of immersive, drawing you into the macabre, the sort of thriller story that he's illustrating. All of these people use different languages in their composition, and they use very different languages in their executions in order to tell their stories in the best way that they can. Linda says, it's like Schindler's List on a red coat. That's a powerful piece of cinematography. It really is. The choice made by the director and the cinematographer in that film to have the one young character moving through terrible situation, terrible scenes, but our focus is on them the entirety of the time. Our focus is on innocence about to be lost. And it draws on those heartstrings, because you can't help but be drawn into it because of the contrast of a black and white film with a single character in a red coat. If you haven't seen Schindler's List, I promise you this scene will pull at you, because it's a really strong handling of not just the subject matter, but the symbolic representation of the reality that's going on. Paul says, taking time to look is also an important thing. We're all guilty of trying to rush through posts and leave comments. Is that a bad thing? I think that there's a serious problem developing, and that as society develops and we come up with all these new means and technologies and things like that in order to ingratiate ourselves with all of our wants and needs. Like, I want to see all the art, and I want to see all the things that I either can't find or I can't afford. But I can zip them all up on my phone and look at them there, or download on the thing, or pay for this service or that service in order to get those things, as opposed to the differences of growing up in a period where you looked forward to things and you invested a little more in things. It wasn't so much of a consumerist way of just imbibing and eating and scrolling. Television shows, you waited until next week for the next episode. Movies, it's coming out in this time, you're not privy to all this mass amounts of information of projects that people have worked hard on, because it's so spilled out into social media and spilled out into marketing and everything else. It's as from a creative standpoint, it's a little scary. That I think is scarier than most other things, like AI and all these other concerns that people have, because the attention span's disappearing for a lot of people. It's already bad enough that within the last 150 years, we've screwed up what has essentially been the circadian rhythm of a species. With the invention of electricity, suddenly we can stay up all night, And before that, the circadian rhythm was that sun up, you're awake. Sundown, go to bed. It's basically, you can push it a little farther. But candles are expensive. Lighting things up are expensive. Firelight, you can read by the hearth, things like that. The hearth would be a drawing point for family to gather around and engage with one another in an evening. All of those things are disappearing. Just imagine anybody in your life, anybody in your world, and you say, hey, how's it going? And they're doing this. One sec. Okay, what? Those things scare me. So, but from a creative standpoint, taking time, getting a book, taking time to look through said book. I mean, look at the silly business of this. He's about to fight an octopus. But that powerful language, people are going to miss that. They're going to see. They see this on a scroll, and they swipe past. Oh, cool, octopus. Next. Oh, cool, fish, next. And what they miss is, look at this, look at these little pieces of language in here, because that's what it is. These choices made. You understand the scales of the fish. You understand the fin here. You understand the textures in the space around these characters. Your focus is drawn right through this corridor here. It allows your eye to follow through the only area that matters. This doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. This does. And it focuses it even tighter because this doesn't matter, right? Same thing, drawing it into the center of composition. We're going to lose these things. I'm really worried about it. Here's Thor fighting the Midgard serpent. For anybody that knows these mythologies of Asgard and the Norse mythologies. There's the character Thor. Here he is scrapping with the Midgard serpent, which is a snake that wraps around the world, and he's fated to be able to destroy it, but he dies within its poisonous venom. It's crazy stuff, but the strong, powerful use of imagery. This action is duplicated by the shadow up above, right? Like you're not even conscious of this. This character symbolically is connected within this panel because of the pendant he's wearing that you might not initially connect with. Like it's two panels, two what apparently could be unrelated images, or you have to visually stitch these two together contextually yourself, but they already are for you. There's a lot of information in there that's provided for you to draw you in. Paul says, I'm glad you said that. I'm overwhelmed by all the social media. I understand and want to support, but I missed the time of going to a book, art, junk, record shop to hunt and look. Completely agree. I completely agree. That's I call it consuming. You're just consuming visual information as opposed to engaging with it in social media. Here's all these facts. Here's all this free images. Here's images that you don't want, or information that you don't. I don't need to know these things or see these things. How's it going to affect my small life? But this is the world we live in now. Eat it. Eat the cake. Eat the pie. Paulus, definitely keep up with what everyone is doing. That's the challenge. I have a principle, and it's not. Some people consider it a not nice one, and other people will understand it. But I can't look at everybody's stuff. And you try, but give yourself a time limit to go through social things. Eliminate all the stuff that you don't need, that you're just following because, I like that thing. But there's no engaging back and forth with that thing. It's not a necessary thing, maybe. But try to like what you can, but give yourself a time limit and then get back to work. That's my principle of how I approach it, which is hard because all these algorithms and things and robots and that I don't understand. And 65% of the internet is machine. I don't know. Just me. So I try my best to like what I can, and I like everything that I see that people are making. And then I get back to making. Paula says, consuming, not engaging. We need a t-shirt. Yeah. Yolanda says, I like on Instagram that we can choose to browse through creators we have favorited. I just wish I could add a few more to my favorites. I didn't even know that we could establish favorites. I'll have to look into that because I don't want to miss people. But maybe by establishing favorites, you miss the other things. I don't know. Again, I don't know how it works. So, it's a challenge. But I grew up in a time where I don't care who's calling on the phone. This is quotes from the household growing up. I don't care who's calling on the phone. We're sitting down and having dinner right now. Why did we lose that? I saw a thing one time where a group of people were saying grace, and then somebody's text came in, and they stopped midpoint in saying grace. So and so's gonna be late, and then they continued the grace. I'm like, anyways, it doesn't matter. Okay. Yolanda says, yes, we can, Christopher. You're one of mine. Oh, that's very nice. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to have to look into that. So anyhow, so this is yet another example of approaching your storytelling and your art making. There are so many different ones that I could show. And, oh, Chris says, hi there. I'm about to enter my classroom. So it's a quick drop. Say hello all. Hi, Chris. Have a great day teaching. So yeah. So whatever you're doing and whatever your approach is and however you go about your creativity, I think it's fine to look at all kinds of other representations of the process of creativity and all kinds of other ways that other makers are producing their work, and that there's things that you can learn from those, but they don't necessarily mean that, that's the right way to do it. You can take a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B, and a little bit of column C, etc., etc. But the way to find your voice is to actively do it. But it is a healthy thing to look at what other people are doing and to spend some time with that. So things being expressed, about flipping through social media and missing the meal. Right? Because you got the sugary business at the beginning. It's not going to help you. Sometimes there's a valuable thing and I've talked to a number of people about this over the years. Sometimes there's a valuable thing in sitting down with a person's work that you appreciate. And in a sketchbook, say, or on some scrap paper, or whatever it is, and trying to scribbly doodle what they did. And trying to figure out how they approach something. Hands are a challenging thing to draw. And it was Jeffrey Jones, the artist that looking at his imagery and how he does hands, because I can't necessarily model my hands because they're a little bit crooked, but it was a fine way to look at how to break down hands and how to understand how hands work. And then the second part of it, of course, is looking at the image that this person's created, and then looking at your own hands. Now, this works if it's a realistic thing. If it's a fantasy thing, it doesn't necessarily work. But looking at your own hands, and then sitting down and trying to figure out, how do I interpret this on the paper? So, study other people's work, take time with it, and learn those processes. Where are we? Yolanda says, my 22-year-old son gets frustrated with us if we finally all get a chance to eat dinner together and if we're on devices. I don't blame them. I don't blame them. Yeah, I can understand that. Oh, hi, Aditi. Welcome aboard. There's a balance. If you don't follow others, they won't find or follow you. See, that's the challenge. That's the big challenge of things. And I don't understand how these people with however many thousands of followers on, 22,000 followers on Instagram, which is super cool. But, how do the robots work? Yeah. Welcome aboard, Didi. Hope everyone's well. That's very nice of you. Okay, so let's bye everyone. Sorry I can't stay. The only day I'm free for a couple of hours at this time is Wednesday. Well, we'll have to do something on Wednesday, Chris. Okay, so today's page. Let me jump over to that. I just wanted to sort of chat about looking at some cool books and allowing yourself the time it takes, whatever that time is, to look at those books and to engage with those for a minute, as opposed to maybe scrolling. Okay, so today's page is a two-parter. It's actually yesterday's and today's page. It's from a suggestion that came from Miriam. If humans make robots that have human features, when robots make others, what features will they have? Fantastic suggestion, Miriam. And so this is drawn on paper that had a grid on it. Do I have it? I don't know where I put it. I put it somewhere. But it's a paper that has a sort of a layout grid that was on it from for breaking down comic pages. But then I'd gone over that with some textures and some paint, and then disregarded all that and just drew flat out, on top. So that's how we get some of these fun different colors. All I use for this is a ballpoint pen. For the mark making part of it is a ballpoint pen and a white paint marker. I've gone from Posca to these craft, like the Posca's great, but these Craft Smart pens, they're oil base, and some of the things that, I'll use Posca on, the problem is drying time. Posca doesn't have the drying time that these do. Posca is great, but the Craft Smart that you buy at places like Michael's, or I guess it would be Hobby Lobby in the States, you have to give them a moment or you're going to smudge it and make it messy. So, but I'm enjoying these as well. Largely because where I was, I couldn't find Poscas in stock, but I could find those. So, all right. Electronics are banned at our mealtime, says Paula, and it's just me and the hubs. Oh, well, there you go. Those with thousands of followers take the time to do it, stay with it. See, I don't think I'm ever going to be that guy. As much as I want to be back and forth with it, I've got stuff to make. Very few have all those followers overnight. Also, world time differences. I'm in NL, 8:30 p.m. here in cooking dinner. Oh my goodness. Well, I appreciate you being here, Paul. Okay, so today's page. So yesterday's pages are done and posted on the Insta of Grams. I was going to show, like I said earlier, for those that weren't here at the time, I've got a whole bunch more of the one-page story read-alongs that are going up. And this is the exception to the rule. If you picked up a copy of Alphabet Book or planned to or thought about it, if you go to my Patreon, where the page is for X Factor that I did based on suggestions of the letter X here on the stream, you can download this page and print out a copy of for yourself to either put in the book or to just have for yourself. So that's on Patreon right now under the page of for X Factor. And then this is the second announcement. I'm going to be at the London Comic Con as a featured guest this year, and I'll be doing live drawing, etc., etc. And then One Page Extravaganza Volume 2 will be released that day, September 14th, on Amazon and at London Comic Con. Woohoo! All right, let's get drawing. Yeah, we all have stuff to make. Yeah, I hear you. Oh yeah, we all do. We're a bunch of creative types kicking around this place. Stop. Yakking Chris and show us the wallet, baby. So I've got a bunch of suggestions from folks that I should be showing you emails, but and then I flip it over and there's more emails. So I've got a bunch more suggestions that have been coming in, like Laurel and Hardy at a rave and things like that. Oh, thanks, Yolanda. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm waiting. The proof will be here by Monday, and then it'll be released on the Friday. Or no, the Saturday. Next. Not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. One Page Extravaganza 2 comes onto Amazon. And it's the same size and the same everything. So, okay. Looking for something. Oh my gosh. Some of the ideas. And if anybody has an idea that they want to throw at me now, you're always welcome to do so. And I'll put it in the book and we'll get to it as soon as we can get to it. But I think I'm looking at Laurel and Hardy at a rave. City of the Future. That's a pretty straightforward one. Remembering the last time we went to a nightclub dancing once in a lifetime. Paula, pick 1, 2, 3. Pick one of these three. 1, 2, or 3. 1, 2, 3. If you can see that on screen. Like that sound? I'm leaning across. Okay, my desk is too long. Just be back a second. Okay. Laugh. Hey, there we go. Thanks, Marsh. Ambitious. Oh, just that's yeah. I appreciate that. Have you been watching that cartoon guy with the cute beanie? Will he feature the bus? Okay, coach tour. Old lady's doing a coach tour. Now there's far more elaborate instructions than that, but I got down I was writing it down in the car. Paula. By the way, I spelled Xenu incorrectly last time you were here. Z and not C. We forgive you. I don't know if anybody would have noticed that. Because, I guess the people that would have noticed that are taking it far too seriously. You've. Oh, I meant not X. Oh, I see. You've misspelled the head of our Scientology. Blah 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 blah. Scientology. I did a page last year, or maybe it was the start of this year. I don't know. They're running together now. On David Miscavige and being arrested and questioned about his science fiction cult. And I think I got away with it. I don't think anybody realized I was using David Miscavige. And probably because I've said his name, some sort of computer thing is going to let them know. And I'll have the Scientologist camping outside my house holding up placards. All right. So let's get down to it. So we've got the suggestion here today is old ladies doing a coach bus tour. This is for Paula's mom. And Xena, warrior princess. I felt just horrible. Oh my goodness. Big laughing face. Okay. Hi everybody. Welcome aboard, Marsh. Yeah, so I think what I'll do is I'll start by drawing a coach bus. I have a new base now. I bought this plastic silhouette lined plastic grid that keeps shining the light, and I'm sorry for that. But it's a nice little graph system that's on it, and I've been wondering if it would peek through it. Now, it won't come through the cardstock, but I've been wondering if that grid pattern, I'm sure it will come through, the straight-on paper stock. And I just read Paula's note. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. So I'm going to start with a coach bus, I think, on this. But I was hoping, and I was wondering, let's try with a sheet of regular paper instead of a sheet of cardstock. Because there's this part of me that has this whole theory, and I get to enact it now with everybody with me. Let's go, team, go. Yeah, so I can see, you can't see, but I can see, maybe you can see, I don't know, but I can see the grid pattern underneath. So as I'm drawing, if the page is lined up with this grid along the top, then it allows me to have these horizontal and vertical lines going across it. That's really interesting. Jolie her pants. Just on what I said about Warrior Princess the other day. Hubby and I used to watch that show when we were in university. So Jockster, for those of you that know the show, Jockster's been here. Jockster's been in my studio. We were going to work on a project together. Just waiting for the script, which was fun. It was really nice to meet him and hang out a little and chat it up. So, yeah. Linda's off. See you soon, Linda. Take care. Yeah, and say hi to Tim for everybody. Yeah. Nice to see you, Linda. Okay, so today's page is the coach bus. I'm going to go back to the cardstock because I want to work on that. Now, I'm going to draw this in pencil. I've got this I use these carpentry pencils sometimes because I just like the texture of them. And oh, he's very funny. He's very funny, Yolanda. He's very funny in person as well. Good man. Really excited next week about meeting a whole bunch of cool people at the con and go grab a bite to eat with some of them, and it'd be very nice. All right, so our suggestion today is old ladies doing a coach tour. It's funny, I was just watching a show with Johnny Vegas on it, and if you know who Johnny Vegas is, really funny guy. So he plays a coach bus driver, and he and his partner do these coach bus tours that always end up being murder mysteries. And they're so funny. But I've never heard so many bus jokes in my life until I started watching this thing. All right, I'm going to put the zoom on, see if that darkens up our lines again. There we go. And I know Janet's not here, so I'm going to get away with not using a ruler. Because I'm a cheeky monkey. So I'm drawing a coach bus to start with, right here in the center of our page. I want to start here rather than starting at the side. So if you meet Nathan Fillion, get his autograph for me. Actually, it was a while ago, but I don't know how many years ago it was, but I was in Toronto. And all the Firefly cast were there. Ron Glass was still with us, and that guy has had the craziest laugh. I mean, the craziest laugh. And really, really nice person. And I went up and I said hi to him. And I said, I love John Barney Miller. Yeah. I liked him on Firefly too, but you know, Barney, come on. There's it's really funny. We went to a show and I went to a show in Detroit many years ago, and I met Buck Rogers, Gil Gerard, and he was having a terrible day. He was just exhausted. I just came up to say hi, and I went, "You're having a day. I hope you have a better weekend. I just want to say hi, appreciate your work," and I walk away, and my friend's like, "Dude, didn't you want to talk to him?" And I'm like, "He's having a bad day. Leave him alone." You know, they're people too, and that's a hard beat to go to these conventions and you know, glad hand everybody that you know, may possibly seen you in undergarments in a program. Cool, Christopher is funny. Yeah, he's very funny. Oh yeah, I read the other part. Uh-oh. Let him get off the floor. Grandkids are all starting, you know, going to school. Not starting, but the oldest grandkids in grade 8 this year. But oh my gosh, a whole army of children and all the needs. There's funny things that are happening that also kind of weird me out. At the one school, some of my grandkids don't need to bring pencils anymore. And I'm not entirely sure what that means yet. But all I know is that if that was me, what would I draw on everything with? Which is, I guess, exposing some of my bad behaviors in the past. Yeah. Yeah, no, you don't need pencils. No, don't bother buying the kids pencils. We take care of that. And okay, it sounds interesting and good that the school's doing that, but at the same time, what's going on? So I asked my my oldest for I want an update on this. Especially since I'd put together a little package of pencil crayons and things for my grandson, and find out, no, you can't bring that stuff to school. I'm like, that's this. If things are going crazy. So I'm putting in, do they supply the pencils, or do they only do computer? Well, I don't think school boards can necessarily afford to do computers for everybody, but unless it's, a little better off school. But that's a good question, Dee. It's a very good question. I don't know the answer to it. Now, one hypothesis put forward by my oldest is that it's the kids, keep the kids from drawing on everything or from attacking each other with pencils. And I find part of that answer very disconcerting. So, So I'm putting the mirrors up on the bus. When I'm doing things like this, I'm always trying to think of, where is the driver looking, as he's driving? Like, where does he need to be able to see? And that whole form as function part should be sticking in your head as you're drawing stuff. No pencils in schools. Cats and dogs living together. Mass hysteria. The stairs go up, Ray. Okay. Windows into the bus's soul. Yeah, that worked out. Okay. Anyways. So there's the structure of the bus. I just thought I'd put the bus here, and my intention is, it's a piece of paper to explain it. It's 86 pieces of paper to explain it. So if this is the page, okay, and our story suggestion is old ladies doing a coach tour. I want to draw the focus on the page into the center. Sorry, put that in frame. Okay, so I want to draw that into the center. So this is why I've drawn the bus up top here. Okay, up top. So, and my intention to follow that up with is to lay the text in behind like so. Coach tour, or probably a little more centered out, but yeah, more like this. And just to sort of draw the eye and the focus to this. And then what that enables me to do is to take now I've done this before, is to take the remainder of the page and break it up into different quadrants. And, we can tell all kinds of different moments that are happening along the coach tour without it having, in a different way than it having to be panel to panel to panel to panel. And so I'm always trying to advocate, if we've got, so here's an idea, okay, is that this could well be a cast of characters along the side here. So you've got the bus driver and the tour guide. You've got some of the people that are on the bus over here, maybe even sitting in their chairs. But what we can do with the remainder of this page is that we can take an arc like so, and from using the center of the bus as our access point, which is also our focus of attention for the page, we can continue to break down panel shapes that are all coming off of this point. And telling our story in this way. And so it allows us to put out a number of pieces of information, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And if the concern is, well, how do we then bring that into a sort of summation for the story that we're presenting? We know that the readers read from top left corner to bottom right corner. Okay. So we know we can start dialogue here, right? If we lead our dialogue with something as simple as it's a ... Now you've read coach tour across the center, and then you can continue this dialogue arc in this way and draw the reader's eye across that. And then their eye will naturally go from here, right there. See that because of this design axis that we have with the angled lines of the panel, the angled lines of the people will automatically draw the reader down to this panel. And so they should read along like so. And as long as you maintain that your text is drawing them across accordingly, then their eye should follow along those panels as well. And it's a different way of laying a page out. But when we think about the purpose of the page, and that is to get the readers from this point in our story to this point in our story, the different structure, the different way that we combine frames of reference or the panels in order to draw them along is where we get to have a lot of fun. It's where you'll see pages where, if this is the page itself, okay, the pagescape, whatever you want to call it, you can draw a panel that takes up this entire part, bleeds right out to the edge, and then have another panel sit inside of it, okay? And the reader will take in this information that's over here and over here from this top panel at the same time as they read that panel. It's a weird thing that we do, but that's how people engage in that. So then they'll take number 1, this panel, and they'll follow down to number 2. Now you can have number 2 sitting on top of 3rd panel, which goes out to the bleed edge, and we have nothing in here. It's just void space. But it's just making some interesting panel shapes for us to diversify how we do our pages in a story. So you can have that panel read across here. You can put a space between it and the next panel. Have that panel inset if you want to differentiate it from the panel above. So now you've got, again, this technically dead space here. You can have another little gap there and another full bleed edge panel. But you're going to give these, you're going to follow it from the top down to the bottom, and you're still going to follow it from upper left to bottom right. And it just becomes about the allocation of where we put our dialogue to follow us through, our little wandering journey through the visual art that's on the page. It's all about the art and the words working together, right? That the whole thing is about those two factors. If you've got the script is good to have the script, okay? But if the balloons and the way the dialogue is laid out works in opposition to how we're trying to draw the viewer's eye with the art, it doesn't work. If the art doesn't enhance the script by drawing the viewer's eye along the moments of the story that are in the script, it's unsuccessful. It's all about the fusion of the two. So that's why when we're laying out pages in whatever erratic means, sorry, I did some work with an oil-based paint. That's why my fingernails look so dirty. So when we're laying out our page in whatever sort of erect panel shapes we want to do, or whatever experimentation that we want to do, we still have to be consciously aware of words, pictures together, right? It's got to be the fusion, right? So that's why I think about things like this, of the dialogue moving along so that it carries into the title, in this instance, across the center, and then right back over to the other side. So if the narrator says, here's the driver and the tour guide already, this is just random, but I don't know that it's the script. And then the next panel, as it follows along, you can even put an arrow to have fun with it. It doesn't matter. It's your language. It's your story. It's a ... coach tour. And then you can say, in this panel, you can say, everyone is here. And then in the final panel, you say, all the old ladies in England. All the old gals in England. So what we're doing is that carries us across the top in the text, and it works in fusion with the visual elements of these. These are a little more static, but because of the diagonal lines of the panels, oh, hi, Miriam, welcome aboard. Because of the diagonal lines of the panel into the coach, do, right? So we're actually directing the eye, you know, I'm doing it off screen. We're directing the eye with the visual elements. And because we know that this directional line is automatically going to make our weirdly mentally programmed brains want to follow this. Oh, we're back to here again. And now we follow our story as laid out. You can do these panels at whatever angles you want. Just because the panel is on this perspective does not mean the art has to be. You can draw this completely without that perspective being influenced by the art, or you can follow it. It's up to you. Why? Again, it's your page. So, I don't know, something to think about. Whenever you're sitting down and trying to block out and trying to figure out doing a page, and whenever you're sitting down and trying to figure out what interesting way can I draw in a reader for, you know, whether it's a single composed image and that you're trying to tell a story with this single static image, or if it's a series of those together, try to think about coming at it in different ways. You know, try to think about, you know, different perspective, trying to think about coming at it in ways that might seem contrary to how you would perceive it. Like if you've got somebody swimming, the initial idea of somebody swimming is always, here's water, you know, here's their head, there's their hand as they're swimming across the water, right? As opposed to, you know, a shot that's underneath the water, and we can see the part of their body here that's underneath the waves, and there's their trunks, okay? But then we can draw this kind of neat, fun, different contorted way of seeing the top part of them, and there's their hand down here. I hope that makes sense to people. So this is the part that's under the water, and this is the part that's above the water. You know, so we're looking at the same scene. We're just looking at it from a completely different vantage point. Just sort of poke my head in for a few minutes. Oh, super cool, Miriam. Thanks very much, guys. So no matter whether it's a static image or if it's a series of images together to tell a story, allow yourself that. Allow yourself to play. Allow yourself to think about different perspectives that we can look at this with. I'm using a straightforward perspective for the coach that I've scribbled here for the center of our page. You know, this is the whole draw image. I want everything drawn into that from either side. I'll pull back out again. From either side of our image, I want everything to draw into the coach. All of these angled lines that we've laid out in our rough are going to draw into the coach. You know, so I don't know. It's just some perspective ideas on ways to break down your page and to make it interesting. But this is how I'm going to do this one tonight. So what I'll do is I've laid it out in pencil. Do you work, Mr. Pen? Yep. So I'm going to draw the bus and pen. And I really enjoy drawing with pen. I really do. I find a comfort in control, and it's because I've drawn a lot with pen. that you can develop control in any tool. It's just there's just something about drawing with pen that I've sort of drawn to do. Yeah, it's terrible. That was unintentional. Wah, wah. I get a sort of handle on using pen on its side and using the pen on its the full ball down on flat on the surface, or drawing it with it on the angle, the amount of pressure that we use. I'm just very comfortable with it. So I'm drawing in the details of the window and some reflection of light, being a sneaky Pete who now doesn't have to draw the interior this way. Wah, wah. I hope everybody's been having a good week. If anybody has any other suggestions that you want to throw forward for me, let me know. I'll be drawing out of a hat to do one of those suggestions at on the Saturday, the 14th at 2:30, and I'll be trying to do this projected online from the con, and then Sunday, the 15th at 2 o'clock. Because I'll have all my setup there. We'll be doing drawing battles at the show, and a number of people will be taking part in all of that. Very exciting. Very exciting. So if you're in the southwestern Ontario area and bored out of your gourd that day, come on down there, bud. So I'm just using a bunch of different marks in a bunch of different directions, and just to try to get interesting values. I don't know. Has anybody ever preferred drawing tool that they like? I like pen. What do other people have? You got to pick one. What if I can't pick one? The world's going to end. Do you promote your YouTube at the cons? Well, this is the first time that I'm bringing the camera setup to a show. And yeah, I will be. But I've got a number of events that are lined up right now that I'll be attending. And I'll be doing some live drawing at, which is a real first for me. In camera. Like before, I'll just do it on a like a signboard type thing, and I'll zoom in. Sorry about that. And just take and do it with marker, and but this time I've got my little magic cart beside me, full of. Let me see if I can move the camera to show you. See the magic card, and that will be to pick and choose whatever mediums I want to do. Miriam is going to come visit me by an astral projection. Miriam says, "Oh, it's a bus. Let's bring an oversized object." We did that one. I think that one. How did that end? Oh, it was a nuclear missile. I tried to have somebody squish on the bus at the end. Piano in there, all kinds of stuff. That was a suggestion from Tristan Amon. She said a person who gets on a bus with larger and larger items. That was a fun page. Having fun with shapes. There's some interesting approaches that people take. Like there was a guy, Junji Ito, who's passed away recently, but he would draw with a brush pen, specifically with just a brush pen. And could do absolutely lovely work, but he drew extensively with this thing and pretty much all the time. So Dee Dee says, I like Bic ballpoint if I have to pick only one. Nice. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, always. Yeah, I've got, Lori is really getting me organized here and shaking stuff up. That's why I'm doing less streams and more other stuff. Just that and other projects are on the docket, so. But we're doing the time-lapse drawings now. Got a bunch more of those to load up, and the slideshows. We got a bunch of those, and then the read-alongs of the one-page stories. Having fun. Having to learn editing. That part, not necessarily my first thing to run towards, but it's important. Trying to keep the image in place in the camera means I move around a lot as opposed to moving the image around a lot. I don't want to give anybody vertigo. Why is it always spinning? Hold it still, for heaven's sakes. What are you doing to me? Do a poster with your channel name and a QR code so people can go, oh, I've already got that. Yeah, I've got all that stuff set up already. Lots of signage. Oh, boy. Standee and signs on the table and QR code links. And thank you for the suggestion on Marina. Yeah, it's scary. It's scary organized, but it's all Tristan and Lori getting me to get it together, Runciman. There'll be a couple panels. There's a 75-inch television screen that sits behind my table, and it has all kinds of different things going through a rotation on it. We're having drawing battles. It'll be fun. But yeah, the QR thing, that's the modern technologies these days. Not that I'm necessarily an adherent to the principles of Andrew Ludd anymore, but I'm, once I figure out the technologies, I'm good, but I'm not one to run to them right away. Slow adapter, this guy. Well, fast adapter, but slow to get to it. I think it's still slow. So I still haven't really pressed down with the pen yet. I tend to like to build up blacks as opposed to just punching them down. I know it's a longer duration to the process, but man, don't run. See, man? There you go. The nicknames that children will give each other, and I'm not saying your child, the nicknames that children will give to each other are always so crazy creative. I remember a kid, Kenny something or other, I don't remember his last name, but it wasn't something or other. He would do a visual enactment of run, see, man? No, it was run, see, man? Thanks, Ken. Get it, man? Yeah, I get it. The 70s. I'm changing my mind even as I'm applying ink to the drawing. I'm ignoring some of the ion pencil marks. Because we make decisions. We subjectively change things. Change our mind. Change our approach. Tighten up our lines. Put air in the tires on our bus. All kinds of things. Put Johnny Vegas behind the wheel. If you haven't seen this, I wish I could remember the name. Just look up Johnny Vegas bus. Hopefully you'll see that at the show. But it's a murder mystery show. It's very funny. I ended up playing, and Laurie came in the room, and there's characters on from Call the Midwife that are on this bus, and they're very cheeky ladies, hitting on the fellas on the bus, and it's like those are nuns. That lady works in the doctor's office on Call the Midwife. What are you watching? You know. Hubcap. I don't know how exciting it is to see somebody draw a bus, but you know. So here's some lines I'm putting in that I didn't lay out in pencil, but those little compartments I'm thinking about as I go. Some of those compartments that are on the bus along the side, you know, where you stow your kit. I want to get those in there, but I don't have to draw all those lines in very dark and opaque and fully formed, because as soon as you start intimating those lines, you'll start figuring out, the human eye will start figuring out the rest of the shape, right? So sorry, guys, need to go feed the hubs. Thanks, Chris. My mom will be thrilled. Oh, hey, thanks very much for the suggestion, Paul. I appreciate that. And say hi to mom and your hubs for me. Have you ever inked a drawing made with thick ballpoint with water and a brush? Oh, yeah. Oh, Didi answered. They're waterproof. Yeah. I don't know that you can necessarily do that successfully well. You can get some bleeding, but I like the Papermate pens as opposed to the Bic pens, and there's a bit of a bleed there, you know, but not much. The whole idea is for light you know, the light and the fastness and the adherence to the surface, right? The easy application of ballpoint pen on the surface. But that'd be interesting. I'm gonna have to try that now. Miriam, you got me wondering. But I thought they were waterproof. I used to test this thing out whenever I bought new pens. I used to always have these little pages in my sketchbook that were all these random black smudges from me trying out different pens and seeing what was water soluble and what wasn't. Try it with one with no waterproof. The results are great. Inktober. Yeah, there we go. Dude, he's already done it. I imagine that this isn't real, but I imagine that when Dee Dee sleeps, her hand is doing this. She draws a lot. Yeah, I smudged it. Trying to clean off the old mitt there. So we got our line. Through the hole of the bus. There's a thing. Did you know that on yellow buses? Here's a fun piece of useless information. Did you know that on a yellow bus that the kids ride to school on? Okay, there are. Here's the winders, right? Duck, 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 goose. And there's black line here and a black line there on every yellow bus. Do you know why that is? There you go. I draw in my head a project from start to finish. It's like counting sleep. And that will put you to sleep. Oh, that's fantastic. This is for firemen to cut the bus open if they have to. It sounds terrible, but this is the height of the floor on the bus, this bottom line, and this one is, the height of the seats generally, and then there's the window line right there so you can see the kids. So when the kids are sitting here like so, they know how to open the bus in a specific way. I just thought that was interesting. Important. Save the little ones. See, there's a bus coming together. Coach tour. Important when writing coach tour not to write couch tour accidentally. These are the thoughts that go through my numbskull brain. I don't mean to be dark. It's just this is what they're for. Take a look at a yellow bus next time you see one. But that's just another way to save the kitties. Make sure everybody's safe. There's all kinds of weird design things that you don't necessarily consider at first. Like if you have a bird feeder, okay? Like say you got a little birdhouse up on a stick. Hold on, I'll move it over here. If you got like a little birdhouse up on a stick and you find that all of the squirrels and stuff keep getting into your bird feeder, if you put a cone right here attached to it, the squirrels can't get into it. It's only for birds now because the squirrels will come up there, and if the cone's wide enough, they can't bring themselves, because it's just a flimsy cone, so they can't bring themselves onto here to move up further. And most of them will just go away, get their head stuck in here and go, wait a minute, what? And go back down. That's one of those, such a simplistic design, and yet at the same time, hey, that'll work, so. It's those things. It's the sort of the little smart. Oh, the simplicity of that, but at the same time, it works. I love that stuff in the world. There you go. That's fun, Miriam. Not be better to draw the silhouettes of the sitting kids. You can do a little game, taking pics to the side while kids change seats. Same bodies, different heads. Here you are. That's sort of similar to when you've got like a bureau or something, or a bookshelf, let's say. You've got a bookshelf here, and somebody at the library is standing behind it, hands on the hips, and they say, well, I'm just going to press the button and go down, and so they press a fake button in the air, and then they just lower their legs down to the ground so it looks like they're getting lower. Or the better one where they turn sideways and they pretend to fake walk downstairs that don't exist there, and by the end of it they're all scrunched up onto the floor in a kind of fetal position. I love silly stuff like that. I can't remember what it was I saw it on. I was watching it with Laurie and the kids, and a guy does this, and he says, would anyone like a coffee? I'll just go downstairs and get it. And so he says, yeah, I'll take a coffee. And so he does this whole thing with the going down the fake stairs, and then he's shimmying on the floor, dragging himself along so he can go into the kitchen and get the coffee. I think it might have been the American version of The Office. I think it might have been that he did that. We were rolling and laughing so hard at that. It's just bonkers. That's the snowball fight trap. Is that when you pop up, you keep popping up behind an object and throwing the ball or the snowball, and eventually people just figure out specifically where you come up behind the object and just you pop up and pow, get hit by the snowball. It's the same as the games at the fair where you smack the mole. I think it's called whack-a-mole. Whack-a-mole. I have to go now. Thanks for the great time, CR. Hey, thanks for coming out, Mary. All right, let's do the front of the bus now. So hopefully all these little different little value shifts are going to give some better shape, a little more activity to the bus. Yolanda says, I used to crush it. Whack-a-mole at the fair. A friend of mine who used to brag that they were really good at squirting water into the clown's mouth. I'm like, what do you mean, from 2 feet away, that thing? Yeah, man, I'm really good at it. Okay. It's a weird brag, man. Yeah, whack-a-mole's a tricky one. Because they really don't like getting hit. I'll give respect to whack-a-mole and having a proficiency at that, but I won't at squirting water in a clown's mouth to blow up a balloon. And there's a certain trick for the ring toss where you got to throw the rings or the hoops or whatever at the bottles, the pop bottles, or the alcohol bottles that are all laid out on a table. And there's a trick with how to backspin it that makes it far more likely to stay on the thing you're throwing at. And I do not have that knack. $23 tickets and I'm crying. I'm gonna get you the bear. Yeah, no, it's yeah. So I think it's picking up some of these pencil lines where I'm disregarding them and changing the perspective slightly on the lines that I'm using. Drawing our bus here. Little course correctors there. Putting in some fun shapes. Dark color for on the bus. Yeah, the only thing that I've got any kind of proficiency at is the whole smack the thing and it hits the bell. That's just because I'm the size of a gorilla. But even that's just right? Hello, every person. Hello, Mr. Jim Luhan. Hey, Jim, I was talking to Bill on the phone today. We're talking about you, Jim. I still have it here. There you go. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. If you get a chance, check this out. It's Revengeance by Bill Clinton and Jim Luhan. An unbridled, caustic, grotesquely comic vision of America, says Sight and Sound. Yeah, super cool. Look at these guys. Look at them. Gorgeous. I love this. That was I watched this yesterday again. Really enjoyed that. Take a look at Jim's channel, folks, for all of his animated films. Okay. So there's our bus. So I'm going to put Coach Tour kicking up behind it. But I'll do that digitally in the text. I thank you, sir. Thank you for the music. I'm just going to move over this pencil for a second, just to sort of give myself a little bit of structure on how far do I want to put my shadow. And then I'm probably going to disregard it because that's what I do. Where's there it is. I called him, he came. Oh, that was stuck in my head. Somebody hum something. That's okay. The song that's been stuck in my head before that was Helix's Rock You Like a Hurricane, and I don't know why. We can get some dumb songs stuck in our head. I'm only asking for 1/15 of the subscribers that Dee has. 1/15. I'm aiming at I don't know what, 50th. I don't actually know how many subscribers anybody has. I always forget to look at things. Dee's been at it for a long time. Okay, so there's our coach bus. So there's the start of our little story here. And so the intent is to start the page so there's the periphery of the page. That's the outside of the page right there. I'm going to cut the size down just so the bus is centered in my drawing. So now, hold on, sorry, I'll put that in the other camera, I apologize. So I made a line along here for here's the size of the page, just cut off a little bit of it. And so if I look at the rough, how about a little rucksack? There you go. Now I've got the whistling in my head. Thank you very much, Yolanda. Everybody joined the joyride. There we go. So, okay, so if I look at the rough that I put together for this, okay, and I've got the bus established now, so I'm going to want, I'm going to put a quick video on for 1 second, folks. I have to get my door. Just 1 sec. Here's something to enjoy.
Get ready, adrenaline junkies. The Gopher Hole in Oxnard presents a one-night-only extravaganza. Join us as we host the legend himself, 11-time regional champion, Jazz Richardson, the Gopher Snake. He'll be signing his electrifying new book, I Smell Blood.
This is the Gopher Snake telling you to come down and see me, and I'll sign your book. Don't be a wimp.
Fans, this is your exclusive chance to meet the 10-pin maestro himself. Mark your calendars and head down to the Gopher Hole for an unforgettable night of strikes and pickups. Don't miss out on this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Be there, Oxnard, and let's roll.
Yeah, I'm back. Okay. Lori ordered some stuff, and the Amazon guys are delivering it. It was her birthday yesterday. Okay, so if I figure out where the center of my bus is, and then which is the center of my composition. So I want all of these lines to kick out from here. Put my mark down, lost my mark. There we go. Yahtzee. So I'm just laying out where the panel of the bus driver and the tour guide and I didn't draw the other mirror. I'm missing comments too. Sorry, folks. Sing a Loverboy song and let it guide you through your day. I've had that joyride stuck in my head for a week. Oh no. At least that's got some, something to it. Rock You Like a Hurricane is like just bad, or not necessarily bad, but just pure example of just 70s, 80s booba, that whole, I like to sing it like this. Here I am, rock you like the hurricane. That's the best way to sing those songs. I have a trick for getting songs out of my head, and it's a terrible thing to do to people. But if you sing a song like Kermit the Frog, right? Like Close to You by the Carpenters. Sing it as Kermit the Frog. Then, your brain's going to stick with that. You're going to stop thinking about Loverboy or Roxette or Helix or whatever other thing is in your head. So try to sing, why do birds suddenly appear? Like do that, or sing something like Roy Orbison. But whatever the song is, but do it in with an impression of Roy Orbison in your head, because we can hear things in our head better than we can reproduce them, right? All right, so I'll zoom in here, and there's the direction where we're going. So you can see I've got the lines kicking out here, and kicking out here, kicking out there, kicking out there for the bottoms. And I used to pretend I was my mom singing pop and rock song. Nice. Why, was your mom a singer? There's like on stage performer type, I always find it surreal when some acts that you see in person and you get this idea what you're going to, and you go there and it's not that at all. Like I went to concert of the Mamas and the Papas, years after the Mamas and the Papas were done. And Mackenzie Phillips was one of the Mamas in this performance. You know, and I'd watched her on TV, right? Your mom would sing everything like it was the Carpenters. Excellent. That is excellent. I got to get that off. Anyways, that's fantastic. Bark at the moon. Yeah. Karen Carpenter was an amazing drummer. So I'm just putting in going to fill these in just to make it a little more interesting here. So just these are the lines that I'm setting up for myself. Now I'm not going to draw the bottom ones in because in the layout for the page, I've got all these different cards, and I think that if the bottom line, if one of the card-like shapes sits over top of that, I'm going to be fine with that. So yeah, heading out. Good looking. Hey, good looking bust. Thanks, Dee Dee. Later, guys. Later, Dee Dee. Thanks very much, Linda. Linda's back. I like to sing songs like a lounge singer that have no business being sung like a loud singer. I just want to release a lounge album of covering songs like New Moon on Monday by Duran Duran, things like that. There's a guy named James B. in Canada here, he's from Toronto, and he did a lounge song version of Wonderwall by Oasis. If you haven't heard it, you might want to do that for yourself. And of course, Led Zeppelin. It's a reggae rock band with an Elvis impersonator called Threat Elvis, and they do covers of Led Zeppelin and The Who, of reggae heavy metal with an Elvis singer doing it. And yeah, they're called Dread Zeppelin. And now there's a new one where you've got an Elvis impersonator covering Nirvana songs. It's called Elvana. Mickey Dolenz was a very underrated singer, in my opinion. A great voice. Yeah, my brother-in-law really likes the Monkees a lot. He really does. And he was telling me about that. He met them all. Well, everybody but Mike Nesmith. Oh, no, he did. He met Mike Nesmith as well. He met all four of them, and he was there, one of 5 people that got the opportunity to be in this room with the 4 of them for a photograph. And then he's got another picture of that where he met the 3 of them after the one fellow had passed away. Mike there. Super cool. Super cool. All right. Well, this is just drawing in some lines to our bus at this point, but we've got our whole layout for where the page is going to go. I'll just zoom in on that a little bit there. Yeah, so we've got, here's our breakdown. If there's our bus. And coach. Tour. And then here's our panel shapes that we laid in. And we're going to have those panels go like so. And then we're going to have our front panels that show all the different happenstance of during the coach tour, all the hijinks these old ladies get up to. Old ladies doing a coach tour. Oh, it's just asking for calamity. Now, here's the part that I didn't do before. And when I was breaking this all down is, so with your story, I refer to this, but then I didn't follow through on it because I got surprised, distracted. So here's the driver and the guide. Here's some of the people on the bus. And here's all their hijinks that they get up to. I have to come up with 7 of those. But what I thought I would do, just to draw one more thing, to draw you from the upper left corner, text, text, coach tour, text, text, and then the text that carries us through. But down here in the corner, I think I'm going to impose a circular panel over top and then have somebody, thumbs up. Good. I don't know what they're going to say, but it's going to have something in relation to the sort of summation of the page. But ideally, this should draw you as the ending point. See, so when I get through the text, if I run the text up along the top part, and if I put the text like so, then that incorporates this panel in, even though it's off to the side, because I've thrown it off by adding this panel here. It's going to confuse the viewer's eye. So if the text goes like this, and then I have this balloon down below it, like that, for good, then you're going to read it like this, and it'll end you right there. This is the stuff that always goes through my brain that I don't necessarily think that other people factor or that it should matter, but this is the sort of things that I think about, But yeah, so that's our layout. This will be posted for tomorrow. Tomorrow, I will also be posting a read-along page for Hey Comic Kids, which is a page. Let me see if I can find it for you, folks. So these are pages where I read along with the story and do all the voices. Sorry, Corbin wants to say hi. I'll say hi. There he is. Oh, here's the boy.
How you doing, everybody? It's me, Corbin. What's up, ladies?
Enough of that. All right. So this page will be posted tomorrow as a read-along on YouTube. And then the other upcoming dates is, the other things is if you've picked up Alphabet Book or you've thought about Alphabet Book and you want the missing page, the X page that's not in the book, it's in my Patreon. And there's a downloadable file that you can just print out your own. So that's that's under the X Factor. That's the page is called. That's the name of the page is the X Factor. Look it up on Patreon, and then you got that. And September 14th is during Comic-Con here in London. September 14th is the release date for One Page Extravaganza Volume 2 on Amazon. Is Corbin a member of SAG? Corby, are you a member of SAG? You left. Oh, no, you didn't. You're right there, you sneaky bugger. Are you a member of SAG? You won't answer me. I don't think so. I'll get back to you on that. Anyhow, so yeah, so if you're interested, One Page Extravaganza Volume 2 will be on Amazon on September 14th. And yeah, if you're in the area, come on down to the con. Come and have some fun. If you're a sequential artist and you come to the con and come and meet up with me, then I've got some opportunities for you to have fun at the show. So let me know. Okay, everybody, that's going to be about it for me for today. Thank you, Jim, for letting me play a clip from your film, The Full Fungus. Take a look for that, folks. Super fun film. Going to be released very soon by Mr. Jim Lewin. Go check out his YouTube, see all kinds of developments that are going on there. Okay, that's it for me today. I will be back. I I'm going to be popping in this weekend. I'll be posting some things up all weekend long, some time-lapse drawings, some another slideshow is on the docket, and some more read-alongs. So keep an eye out. Thanks very much, everybody. Thanks for coming out. Have a lovely day. I'll be back for sure on Tuesday at 2 p.m. EST. Yolanda says, thanks to the company, Christopher. No. Oh, thank you very much. Thanks, everybody, for attending. Bye for now.